In this video, you're going to learn 25 essential phrases and words to keep any conversation going naturally. And we are going to practice them together right now. So if you struggle to respond in English, this video is going to help you massively. Let's get started. The first phrase that I want to share with you today is, "That's interesting. Tell me more." That's interesting. Tell me more. You use this when someone tells you something to show that you want to hear more details. It makes the other person feel that you are interested in what they have to say. So if I say, "I just started learning how to play the piano," I just started learning how to play the piano. You can say, "That's interesting. Tell me more." Again, "That's interesting. Tell me more." Now, the next one is, "Really? Really?" Use this small, simple word when you are surprised by what you hear. Okay? Again, use this when you are surprised or shocked by what you hear. So if I say, "I actually moved to a new country last week." I actually moved to a new country last week. If you are surprised, you can say, "Really?" Again, "Really?" Next we have, "So, what happened next?" Again, "So, what happened next?" Use this when someone is telling you a story and you want them to continue. Okay? So, for example, if I say, "We got to the cinema, but the tickets were sold out." Again, "We got to the cinema, but the tickets were sold out." You can say, "So, what happened next?" So, what happened next? Next we have, "How about you?" How about you? How about you? Use this to ask the other person about themselves after you answer their question. Again, use this to ask the other person about themselves after you answer their question. This keeps the conversation going. For example, "I really enjoy gardening on the weekends." I really enjoy gardening on the weekends. And then I can say, "How about you?" How about you? How about you? I am asking a question. How about you? Next we have, "And you?" And you? This is a natural way to ask the same thing as "How about you?" or "What about you?" This is shorter and natural. Okay? So if I say, "I'm feeling much better today." I'm feeling much better today. And you? And you? Okay? Next, what do you mean? What do you mean? If you don't understand what someone is saying to you, what they are talking about, you use this phrase to ask for more information. What do you mean? So if I say, or someone says, "This project is a bit of a nightmare." This project is a bit of a nightmare. And you can say, "What do you mean?" What do you mean? Again, what do you mean? Okay? Next we have, "Could you say that again, please?" Could you say that again, please? Could you say that again, please? If you didn't hear the person clearly, this is the most polite way to ask them to repeat their sentence in this case. So, if I say, "The meeting has been moved to Tuesday at 4. The meeting has been moved to Tuesday at 4. You can say, Could you say that again, please? Could you say that again, please? Next we have, could you explain that? Could you explain that? We use this when we hear the words, but we don't understand the idea behind what the person is saying. Okay? So, for example, if I say, I prefer the hybrid working model. I prefer the hybrid working model. You can say, could you explain that? If you don't know what I am talking about, you can say, could you explain that? Could you explain that? Next we have, could you speak a little slower, please? Could you speak a little slower, please? We use this to ask people to slow down. If you are talking to someone and they speak really fast, you use this phrase to ask them or to tell them to slow down. So, if I say, could you tell me the way to the nearest subway station? Could you tell me the way to the nearest subway station? Let's say I said it too fast and you didn't hear, okay? Because I was too fast. You can say, could you speak a little slower, please? Could you speak a little slower, please? Okay, this is a very good one. Next we have, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Use this to show that you understand the person's perspective, even if you don't have the same opinion, okay? So, if I say, it's very difficult to find a house in this city. It's very difficult to find a house in this city. You can say, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Next we have, it sure is. It sure is. We use this when we agree 100% with what someone has said. It shows that you are thinking the same thing. So, for example, it's way too hot today. It's way too hot today. You can say, exactly. You agree 100% with the statement that the person has made. It sure is. Okay? Next we have, that's a good point. That's a good point. Use this to show that you respect the other person's idea, even if you hadn't thought of it yourself. Okay? So, for example, if I say, or if someone says, we should probably leave early to avoid traffic. We should probably leave early to avoid traffic. You can say, that's a good point. That's a good point. Next we have, I agree with you. I agree with you. This is a very clear and direct way to show that you are on the same side as the other person. So, for example, the food here is delicious. The food here is delicious. You can say, I agree with you. I agree with you. Next we have, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Use this to tell someone that their suggestion is excellent. It encourages them, okay? So, for example, why don't we go for a walk after lunch? Why don't we go for a walk after lunch? That's a good idea. You can say that. That's a good idea. Next we have, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Use this when someone explains why they did something and you understand their reason. So, for example, I'm staying home because I have a cold. I'm staying home because I have a bad cold. I'm staying home because I have a bad cold. You can say, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay? Next we have, that's a tough question. That's a tough question. Use this when someone asks you something difficult. It gives you a few seconds to think about your answer. So, for example, what's your biggest fear? What's your biggest fear? You can say, that's a tough question because you haven't thought of it before. So you're giving yourself time to think. Okay, that's a tough question. Next one we have, let me think about that. Let me think about that. Let me think about that. Now, this is another polite way to take a small break to find the right words before you answer. Similar to the previous one. Okay, so let's say I ask you, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 5 years? You can go, let me think about that. Let me think about that. Let me think about that. The next one is fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. This just means I understand and I accept your reason. It's a very common phrase in English. Very common. Now, let's say I can't go to the party because I have to study. I can't go to the party because I have to study. You can say, fair enough. Fair enough. Next one we have, I'm not sure, but I think. I'm not sure, but I think. Use this when you don't know the exact answer, but you want to try to help, okay? So let's say someone asks, or I ask you, do you know when the shop closes? Do you know when the shop closes? You can say, I'm not sure, but I think it closes at 8 p.m. I'm not sure, but I think it closes at 8 p.m. Next up we have anyway. Anyway. This word is used to change the topic gently when you want to talk about something else. So for example, I'm sorry, I've been complaining for 10 minutes. I'm sorry, I've been complaining for 10 minutes. And you can say, anyway, and then you say something else. You start a different topic, okay? Anyway. Next we have, that sounds great. That sounds great. Now use this to show excitement when someone suggests a plan or activity that you like. Okay? That sounds great. You like the idea or the plan. For example, let's say I say something like, let's meet for coffee this Saturday morning. Let's meet for coffee this Saturday morning. If you like this idea, this plan, you can say, that sounds great. That sounds great. Next we have, no way. No way. Use this when you are very surprised or shocked by news. Let's say I just met a famous actor and I tell you, hey, I just met a famous actor, and you go, no way. No way. Next we have, that's funny. That's funny. Use this when someone tells you a story that makes you laugh or smile. That's funny. So let's say my cat fell off the sofa while sleeping. I mean, that's funny, right? My cat fell off the sofa while sleeping. You can say, that's funny. That's funny. Next we have, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Use this when you learn a new fact from someone. It's a great way to be a good listener, okay? To show that you are interested and in what they are saying or they've just said. So let's say, did you know that honey never spoils? Really? Oh, I didn't know that, right? Did you know that honey never spoils? Well, I didn't know that. I did not know that, okay? So yeah, that's a good one. I didn't know that. Next we have, what do you think? What do you think? Okay, now use this to ask someone's opinion. It shows that you care about how they feel or what they feel about a certain topic. Okay, so let's say, I think you should paint the room blue. I think you should paint the room blue. And then I can ask you, so what do you think? I'm asking for your opinion, okay? What do you think? What do you think? You've just practiced 25 essential phrases in English to keep your conversations moving. Well done. Good job. Pick one or two to use this week, and you'll see how much easier speaking or talking becomes. I hope you found this valuable, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.